Hey there, fellow cat lovers. If you're diving into cat fantasy and can't quite decide which perfectly adorable cat girl deserves your attention, you're in the right place. Welcome to today's video where we're ranking all the cat girls from best to, well, not the best. Cat Fantasy is a gacha RPG that's not just about saving the world, it's about saving the world with a squad of fierce and fabulous feline warriors. But don't be fooled by the cute ears and fluffy tails. These cat girls are ready to claw their way through evil to protect humanity. As the manager of the Cat of Baker Street, you've got your paws full, not just with battling dark forces, but also with running a cozy little cat cafe where these maids moonlight between epic battles. So, whether you're here for the intense combat or just want to unwind with a virtual latte, we've got you covered. Let's jump into the tier list and find out which of these cat girls will have you purring with delight and which ones might just need a little extra TLC. I'm quickly moving on to the video and I'm ranking characters in Cat Fantasy. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of tier list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching.
My friends, only 0.1% of viewers subscribe. If you like this type of content, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you in advance for your support.
The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Evelina Beauty Cutie and Sunny Teen Turn. So let's dive into the C tier characters in Cat Fantasy, shall we? Now, I know some of you might have a soft spot for these characters, maybe they're your waifus, and hey, no judgment here. But if we're talking pure efficiency, these are not the units you want to be pouring your hard-earned resources into. I mean, yeah, they have some uses, particularly when it comes to elemental content, but let's be real, they're generally outclassed by the higher tier units. Now, don't get me wrong, these C-tier characters aren't completely useless. They do offer some utility, and there might be a few niche scenarios where they can shine, but for the most part, they're just not ideal for long-term use. They might give you a few buffs here and there, but they're not the kind of units you can rely on to carry you through the tough battles. Think of them as the ones you use early on, and then bench as soon as you get your hands on something better. Take Evelina for example, our beauty cutie. She's got some minor buffs up her sleeve, but honestly, she just doesn't pack the punch you need in the later stages of the game. Sure, she might help out in a very specific situation, but those moments are few and far between. And then there's Sunny, aka Teen Turn, who, let's be honest, is pretty underwhelming. Her damage output is low, and she doesn't really contribute much in terms of support. She's the kind of character you use when you've got no other options, but the second you get someone better, it's time for Sunny to take a long break on the bench. So, if you're still rocking these characters in your lineup, it might be time to start thinking about an upgrade. C tier is where we start to see the cracks in the armor. It's just not worth investing too much into these guys. They're decent as starters, but as you progress, you'll definitely want to swap them out for more powerful allies. Trust me, your team will thank you. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Asura Forest Guardian, Yunkan Flying Embers, Irina 1 False Note, Olga Breakdown, Haley Knight of Purification, and Chi Soul Lantern. Alright, let's dive into the B tier characters in Cat Fantasy. Now, B tier is where things get interesting. These aren't the showstoppers of the game, but they're far from being benchwarmers. Think of them as the dependable sidekicks who might not steal the spotlight, but still get the job done. If you're just starting out, or you're stuck on a particular level, these characters can be your best friends. They might not carry you to the top of the leaderboard, but they'll definitely help you get your footing. First up, we've got Asura, the Forest Guardian. Asura is like that sturdy oak tree in your backyard, reliable, solid, and there to weather any storm. His main gig is defense. With his Forest Guardian ability, he can throw up shields that'll absorb a decent amount of incoming damage. If you're building a team that needs a bit of extra protection, Asura's your guy. He's not flashy, but he'll keep your squishier characters safe, which is worth its weight in gold, especially in those tougher battles. Next, let's talk about Yunkan with his Flying Embers ability. This guy is all about those fiery attacks that can hit groups of enemies at once. If you're facing waves of weaker foes, Yunkan's your go-to. He's like the guy at a party who can start a bonfire great for setting the mood, but maybe not the one you want leading the charge in a serious fight. Still, he's super handy for clearing the early stages and keeping the pressure on the enemy. Now, Arena is where things get a bit more strategic. She's got this musical ability called 1 False Note that can mess with enemy formations. It's kind of like throwing a wrench into the works. While she doesn't pack the punch that some of the higher tier characters do, her ability to disrupt the battlefield can turn the tide in your favor, especially in specific scenarios where positioning is key. She's the wild card that can catch your opponent off guard. Then there's Olga with her breakdown ability. This one's a bit of a bruiser, known for lowering enemy defenses. Think of Olga as the one who softens up the enemy so the rest of your team can swoop in for the kill. She's got high attack and defense stats, making her versatile enough to handle both offense and defense. Olga's the kind of character who, with the right support, can really shine. Haley is our debuff cleaner with Knight of Purification. Now, Haley's not exactly the star of the show, but if you're dealing with status ailments, she's the quick fix you need. She's like that friend who always carries hand sanitizer. You don't always think about her, but you're glad she's there when things get messy. Not the best for major battles, but definitely useful in a pinch. Lastly, Chi with his Soul Lantern ability is all about versatility. He's the Swiss Army knife of this tier, can heal, can damage, you name it. Chi's dual functionality makes him a great support character, and depending on the situation, he can adapt to whatever your team needs. He might not be the best at any one thing, but he's good enough at everything to make him a valuable addition to any lineup. So, if you're just getting started with Cat Fantasy, or you're looking to round out your team, these B-tier characters are definitely worth a look. They're not going to carry you all the way to the top, but they'll give you a solid foundation to build on while you hunt for those A and S tier heavy hitters. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Danica Ember in the Dark, White Tactical Submarine, No Threat Secret Visitor, Echo Sparkle Rider, Minami Scarlet Wanderer, Ina Ghost's Companion, Elaine Ashen Dancer, and Yunpei Sunset Radiance. Alright, let's talk about some A-tier characters in Cat Fantasy that are definitely worth considering for your team. These feline fighters might not be the top of the top like the S-tier crew, but don't let that fool you. They're still fantastic choices that can carry you through all stages of the game. Whether you're just starting out or diving into those challenging endgame modes, these cat girls and guys are going to be your best friends on the battlefield. First up, we've got Danica, the Ember in the Dark. She's all about that consistent fire damage, slowly roasting your enemies while your other characters clean up the mess. Danica's ability to deal piercing damage right from the get-go with those extra SP points is just the cherry on top. If you're dealing with enemies that have annoyingly high defenses, she's your go-to. Next is White, the Tactical Submarine. This guy is all about battlefield control. His damage scales with his SP and the number of buffs and debuffs on the enemies. So, if you're looking for a strategic edge, White is your man, Cat. He's perfect for managing enemy movements and making sure things go according to plan. Trust me, in those tough battles where every move counts, White is the tactical genius you need. Now, let's talk about No Threat, the Secret Visitor. She's a stealthy assassin who's all about critical hits and true damage. What makes No Threat stand out is her ability to increase her attack every time she gets healed. Plus that lifesteal on her basic attacks. She's practically unkillable if you play her right. And let's not forget her ultimate, which dishes out AoE damage and applies bleed, even though she's more of a single target specialist. Moving on to Echo, the Sparkle Rider. This one's all about speed and penetration. No, not like that. Her abilities are great for new players trying to get through the early game. She even helps out her allies by boosting their penetration rate even after she's taken a dirt nap. Echo might not hit as hard as some of the others, but she's a solid team player who makes sure everyone else is shining bright. Minami, the Scarlet Wanderer, is next, and she's all about high risk, high reward. The more damage she takes, the harder she hits, which is a pretty fun playstyle if you like living on the edge. Her single target taunt and true damage ultimate can make quick work of any enemy. But watch out, her defense isn't great, so you'll want to pair her with a good tank or healer to keep her in the fight. Ina, the Ghost Companion, is your support extraordinaire. She's got a single target taunt that reduces the damage she takes, which is perfect for keeping the heat off your more fragile cats. Plus, her ultimate boosts your whole team's attack, making her a must-have in any squad that needs a bit more oomph in their damage output. Then there's Elaine, the Ashen Dancer. She's a bit of a trickster, disabling enemy skills and healing with her attacks. She might not have the raw power of some other characters, but her ability to dodge and debuff makes her a solid choice for players who like a bit of finesse in their fights. Last but not least, we've got Yunpei, the Sunset Radiance. This guy is a great all-rounder with a good mix of offense and defense. His ability to increase penetration rate and dish out AoE damage makes him a versatile pick, especially if you're up against a horde of enemies. Yunpei's skills make him a reliable choice when you need someone who can handle both healing and dealing damage. So, if you're building your team and don't have enough S-tier characters yet, don't worry. These A-tier cat girls and guys are still top contenders and can easily carry you through the game. Give them a try and you might just find your new favorite. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, White Combat Mode, Anya Crown of Frost, and Triss Heartfelt Mending. Alright, let's dive into the cream of the crop in cat fantasy, our S tier characters. These cat girls aren't just strong, they're the perfection you've been waiting for. Seriously, these are the cats you want by your side if you're aiming to dominate the game. Whether you're just starting out or you're deep into the endgame, these characters will have your back, no doubt about it. First up, let's talk about White in combat mode. Now this cat is all about raw power. When you stack your team with the same element, White's damage goes through the roof. Plus, those skill cards that deal true damage, absolute game changers, especially when the enemy's covered in debuffs. White's the kind of cat you bring to a fight when you want to make quick work of your enemies. No strategy needed, just pure, unfiltered combat. Next, we have Anya with her Crown of Frost. Honestly, Anya's a must-have for any team. And the best part? You get her for free just by logging in and completing some beginner missions. She's one of the top supports in the game, with her ability to shield your team based on her max HP. But that's not all. Her freezing ability can stop entire groups of enemies in their tracks, letting you pick off the biggest threats one by one. Anya's got that perfect mix of offense and defense that makes her a game changer in so many situations. Finally, we've got Triss, the ultimate healer with her Heartfelt Mending ability. Triss isn't just about healing, she also dispels debuffs and even boosts your team's attack, even if she's out of commission. That's right, this cat's helping you from beyond the grave. In tough battles, Triss is your go-to for keeping your team alive and kicking. She's the cat you never knew you needed until she's saving your tail time and time again. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.